There was a moment, Anita said, when the superintendent called and offered me a job. There were 10 seconds of pure joy. That moment when I said, yes, of course I'll take it. That was pure joy. I've never leapt at anything in my life, she said. Is it okay to celebrate these days? With so many losses, we wonder, what do we do with fabulous news? If someone asks us, so how are you? Is it okay to say, fantastic? Anita has a lot to celebrate. She recently accepted the job of her dreams. In a combination of grace and hard work, Anita is the principal of Northeast Elementary School's 60 staff and 700 students. Anita said the offer actually came in the midst of 2 weeks of terrible emotional and physical troubles. But what a gift, what a recognition, what a payback to be able to say anything to yes right now. It was pure celebration. As soon as I hung up from the superintendent, she said, I thought, what have I done? And since then, it's been 80%. She said, what have I done? This is going to be so hard. Anita continued, these days, there's no time for grand celebrations. I didn't get to have a moment with my supporters and my family when I was named principal. But I've always had the sense in my life that I'm holding on to 2 rails. There's the good on one hand and the hard on the other. It's never all celebration, and there's always a bright spot somewhere if we look for it. There's always something to mourn and something to celebrate at the same time. God had a lot to teach the Hebrew slaves as they trudged across the desert. Primarily, God needed to teach them that their God was a different monarch entirely than Pharaoh. And there was so much more. The book of Leviticus is filled with the minutiae of details about regulations regarding such things as the treatment of animals and criminals and priests. And right there in the middle of it all was what might have startled even Moses. Instructions on feasting. God offered the freed slaves something their previous life took from them. Rest, worship, and celebration. Anita said, we need to be watching right now for the moments of joy that are surrounded by a whole lot of other junk. I don't get to be excited, she said, about being principal the way I expected when I began grad school. I go into this with all the unknowns that are current in education. But that's the reality we live in. Celebrations are not what we imagined, she said. Weddings, graduations, they're not what we hoped. But Anita said this also offers a lot of opportunities, and opportunities for thinking outside the box. Now I can say to my staff, we have to do it this way, now, this time. It's got to be done this way. And so she said, I've learned to celebrate what I can make out of this. Right now, we're giving people a lot of permission to not be okay, she said. And that's fine. It's the reality. Fear is real. But she said, it's also okay to be okay right now. We don't have to feel guilty about celebrating. We need to encourage each other to find things to celebrate. I wonder about the Hebrews' response to the instructions for feasting. Take the Feast of Tabernacles when they were to live in booths. Maybe they thought, we're kind of tired of camping right now. And what about instructions for the year of Jubilee when they had no land? Maybe Moses said to God, God, I think it might be just a little too soon. The book of Ecclesiastes says, there's a time to laugh, there's a time to weep, and a time to laugh. a time to mourn, and a time to dance. And Anita and I think that the laughing and weeping and mourning and dancing, it can all come at the same time. God bless you, East Union.